Hi, this is CCR number 3, and this is the PowerPoint voiceover. And for this PowerPoint voiceover, we'll be answering the question: how did your production skills develop throughout this project? Test run and thoughts. Before filming our final opener, we completed a few test runs to see how the scenes would look on camera. This helped us identify things that would work well and things that would definitely need improvement. It also allowed us to evaluate our camera framing, messy scene, and how natural the acting appeared on screen. After looking over the footage, we realized we overlooked many things. So what did we miss? Especially in our messy scene, we didn't realize we overlooked things till it was pointed out. I remember in the first picture that I wasn't in this practice, but when they sent over the material in the media studies group chat that we have, and I was watching it pretending to be an audience, I didn't even notice the shoes, and I didn't even think to ask what they were doing there. And I was just genuinely like, if I didn't even notice that and didn't even try to figure out what that contributed to the message scene or the film opener in general, then we definitely must have overlooked other things. And not only that, another red flag was makeup brands showing. Makeup brands aren't allowed to be shown because that can cause issues not only for the makeup brand but for us too. And even in this picture, I only showed like half of the name or like covered it, but it's just not allowed and we don't want any problems. So we made sure we had to fix it as quickly as possible. So what we did differently was for the messy scene, especially, we rearranged Natalie's room. I specifically remember having to like move my makeup around in certain places, and I remember like boxes being moved to the side and a lot of things just being moved in that same instance for the reason that we didn't want to confuse our audience or imply something that wasn't meant to be implied for our film opener, because we were trying to construct a certain meaning and we didn't want to add on anything that had nothing to do with it. We also added props like flowers that was put away before, like it was on the side. Then we decided to purposely put it there to build the narrative of Natalie having a lover, a boyfriend, before the betrayal happens. And we flipped over the makeup products so the brand wouldn't show. Like I said, that could get us in trouble and cause many issues we do not want to deal with. Camera angles and movement. In the beginning, it was a little shaky because before we were using iPhones to film, so it was different using an actual camera. This camera was given to us by the Beacon to use, and at first it was a little shaky because our camera woman Imani wasn't familiar with it. But eventually we got the hang of it, and things got better and more steady. And we also used the tripod stand to help stabilize and get some of the scenes. Um, we also had to do a lot of retakes because of the same reason, a lot of shakiness, and that really kind of ruined some of the scenes, although it wasn't intentional. But we were still getting the hang of it and eventually improved, like I said. Um, we also did a wide shot as one of the camera angles to establish the messy scene as seen in the second photo. Actually, one of the things in that photo was also taken out. The little fridge looking thing that was taken out because we didn't want that to imply something we didn't we didn't like feel would go with our opener, because honestly, if we had to explain each and everything, we wouldn't be able to explain that like we would the others. We also had close-ups There was a close up in the beginning where we were panning on the makeup stuff and we were like grabbing it, and then it panned on the phone where she got the ding that disrupted the whole atmosphere, which led to everything else. And there was also another close up that added on to the thriller conventions where we were close to where Natalie, she was close to the door and she was about to open it, but that's when it faded to black, and that created suspense and added on to thriller characteristics. We also felt that these theories connected to our opener. The representation theory by Stuart Hall suggests that media doesn't simply reflect reality, but instead constructs meaning through the way elements are presented to the audience. This is clearly shown in our message scene where we carefully arrange props and setting to support the narrative, controlling what appeared in the frame. We ensured our focus on the protagonist and emotional reaction to the anonymous message. The gender performativity theory by Judith Butler was um, also relates to our film opener. Judith Butler's gender theory suggests that gender is performed through repeated behaviors and social expectations rather than being naturally fixed. This influenced how we portrayed the characters in the opening scene, and it was reinforced by the messy scene with the makeup items, the silky PJ costumes, and how her bedroom and setting was overall. As the tension begins with the anonymous message, the protagonist becomes the central focus of the narrative, which challenges that idea that female characters are only defined by traditional feminine behaviors. So it also connected to our opener, but it also challenged it. Editing Editing really made the thriller conventions come through. Inserted audio like eerie sounds and sound effects like notification sounds, heavy breathing, knocking, and fade to black transitions really helped the thriller genre be portrayed even better. I remember that Imani, our teammate, and the camera woman, she made a Instagram, and it was anonymous. She made the anonymous Instagram page to help the production, and that contributed so much because it she even created the username, and it was like a random numbers which fit the unanimous vibes perfectly, and it helped contribute to the meaning and use to create suspense and add on to the thriller elements. Acting skills. We were not professionals, but we did our absolute best. The acting overall, I felt like we did as best as we could. We weren't like perfect, but we still managed to portray the emotions perfectly, especially Natalie. Like you could see her smiling one moment, then she's stressed and she's fighting the urge to not go to the door. Like she's shaking, like you will see it in the film opener. She's like shaking as she's getting to the door. Instead of just sitting there and not going to the door, she actually went, which challenges so many like gender stereotypes, because in thrillers women are expected to be scared. Well, she is scared, but just scared and not do anything about it, but she's facing her problems, and that is just so incredible of her character. And I felt that that was portrayed well, especially like the feeling of betrayal, not knowing if she should believe this or not, and overall. everything that just happened, like how everything just shifted all in quickness. And that's it for this CCR. On to the next.